Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Dan.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. Today we are going to talk about all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Almost got off track there.
Yeah, good job.
Almost got off track. We're going to talk about games we played, some news, some crowdfunding, and we've got an interview that Dan is so excited about.
Very excited.
Well, I mean, it would be nice if we had an interview.
Well,
It'd
sure.
be nice. We'll see what happens.
Maybe. But first, we got to take care of some business. Bob, what's that business?
A couple of things, actually. First, you got to make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell because we'll be talking about some things that you're going to want to know about as soon as they come out.
Right.
So, yeah, notifications are good.
I all my Kickstarters that I have today end soon.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
So,
Oh, boy.
notifications. Plus, it helps the algorithm. It helps get us out there.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we're giving away a game.
Yeah, we are. What game is that?
Darkness's Edge.
No, Edge of Darkness, guys. From
damn.
AEG. They're going to have a Kickstarter coming up for the expansion, another
Yes.
expansion for that. But so save yourself some money.
Win the base
Win
game.
our giveaway, which
Yep.
to enter, all you have to do is already be a subscriber. So if you're watching this, there's a good chance,
Good chance.
that you're already a subscriber. And then go to that 500 subscriber
Giveaway video.
giveaway video
Spirit
and
fingers.
comment on there. Like, why Bob's hair is so cool.
Because I have some.
Yeah, I don't have it. Or,
Jealous.
whatever AEG game you like. Or
That too.
Yeah,
Why Dan
maybe
smells.
something relevant.
Sure.
Yeah.
But all you have to do is have a comment on there and be a subscriber.
Yeah.
And once we hit 500 subs, we're going to send you that game
Super close.
plus shipping. What's shipping? What are we charging for shipping, Bob?
It's free.
Gratis.
Yeah.
Bam. All right. Every week.
Every week.
Every week, Dan.
Every time I go to a store to buy something, I'm gonna make sure Bob does all the calculation for my cards.
I calculated this up and it's free.
Right, it's totally free. I did all this stuff for
Every
it.
time you do an equation, you accidentally type ×0 at the end.
Times 0. Yeah. We got to add the
Accidentally?
tax on, right?
Accidentally?
Times 0. Yeah.
Okay, guys. So what's some games we played this week?
I did not get much. At least
yeah,
if I
same.
remembered my games, I did
Same.
not get much. So I actually let me start because Bob,
Yeah.
we played something and Tim watched something technically right before the show last week, and we
Yep.
forgot to mention it.
I know.
because we're dumb and
are.
we wake up too early in the morning.
Yeah, it was
Correct.
very early.
We played Langskip.
Yes.
Langskip. I
Yeah.
actually I had the information the other week, not this week, so I don't actually
Yeah,
have
turn back a
but
page.
it's by Crab Studios.
Yep.
Right.
And it's actually an interesting combination of how I would describe it as an interesting combination of coup and love letter. It has the card mechanic of love letter with the drawing a card, having two cards in your hand, and then you have a reference sheet that says how many of each card is in the deck, so you know that if you play the Loki, if you have the Loki in your hand, there is no other Loki, right, and stuff like that. But at the same time, it has the bluffing of coup, to where I can say I'm playing Loki, and I play that card face down. It's up to everyone else whether they believe me or not. Either way, I activate the Loki card because that's what I said I'm activating. Now, if I get called out on it, I reveal that card. And if it is Loki, they take a penalty, and if it's not Loki, I take a penalty, right?
Yes.
And so you're racing to the end. There's a 20-space board. You're racing to the end. First person there wins. They have a beautiful wooden box collector's edition
Yeah.
that they described to
nice.
us, and I wasn't sure exactly how it was going to work until I saw the pictures. And yeah, it's like, think of it like a collapse box like this, right? And it has engraved on the wood the board, and you open it up and it lays flat, and you play on the top and bottom of the box, and then when it folds back, you put all the pieces in there so it clasps shut and holds everything inside like a 3D unfolding board. Looks great, and the price actually isn't that bad for the
$70
collector's edition.
is
Yeah,
not
either.
bad.
But they were halfway gone last time I
Yeah,
checked.
there's not a ton of them. Plus, one of the neat things, though, that you forgot to mention about the bluffing, if you
8
bluff a card and the next person goes, you can say, actually, I was lying, and show
right.
that you were lying, and you get a mischief coin. And then all the Loki and the Loki adjacent characters all gain bonuses for using the mischief coins.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get benefited for lying, and if you call someone out for lying, there's some other way to get mischief tokens. I honestly can't remember right now. There's 2 ways.
Yeah.
But yeah.
it's pretty
I
cool.
enjoyed the game.
Yeah.
I actually don't like coup. I even would go so far as to say I dislike coup quite a bit. But I do enjoy Love Letter, at least certain versions of it. Like, I love Lovecraft Letter. It just adds enough mechanics to make it more
Right.
interesting. And I thought this game did a really good job of combining those two
Sure.
ideas in a theme that was interesting.
To me, it sounded like sort of a combination of Sheriff of Nottingham and Masquerade. a
Okay,
little bit
sure.
with-
If somebody wanted to see that, Dan, where would that be at?
Yeah, we actually have a full playthrough right here. Thanks, Bob. That is a full playthrough of us with Niall, one of the designers of the game, and you can see it on Tabletop Simulator right there. I think it's pretty enjoyable
Crab
to watch.
Studios. By the time this pops, there'll be like 3 days left on that Kickstarter. It's
Yep.
already funded. It was a super short Kickstarter.
Yeah,
like,
really short.
what, a week and a half maybe?
Yeah.
It was very short. But yeah, it's funded and yeah, looks sharp. Looks really sharp. Pretty neat. What else? What do you guys play?
Well, earlier we played a little Grand Gamers Guild game.
Yeah, we tried out the Independence Caper.
Yeah, it's a little
Incident.
puzzly.
Incident.
Yeah, caper. Yeah,
Kringle
you're mixing
caper.
too. Yeah.
Independence Incident.
But it's a little small box game, puzzle solving and whatnot. It's mostly just a one shot, but we had a lot of fun.
That
It was
is
good puzzles in
Yeah,
there.
those are. We really do like those. Like the more, I mean, I'm always like, yeah, I like these, and then we play them, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
like-
man, we all really like these.
We do.
Like and pretty consistently, like across, because
Yeah.
we have a lot of taste, you know, in varying tastes between
no, just,
between games.
I don't taste
Bob and
anything.
I don't agree on most games.
Yeah.
But,
But yeah, it's really good. I would look for
fun.
that. And Grand Gamers Guild, my experience with them so far has been really good. Like
Yeah.
with the games of theirs that I have played.
and we actually have a review coming out this week. Right there.
Bam.
Yep.
Bam.
Just gonna get that out of the way too.
right.
So
And then
for,
we'll also-
for more in-depth thoughts,
Right.
go check out the review.
Right.
Yep.
Gorinto is
Yep.
another game we
Yep.
played.
That's one.
That was
yeah,
our Grand Gamers
that I
Guild.
had
Yeah.
written down.
Also, Grand Gamers Guild. I know
Yeah.
we're on theme today.
Yeah.
We're getting
but-
paid off.
But Gorinto is you're moving these tiles to gain wisdom. You're building your own little obelisks of knowledge, stacking these
elements.
tiles of void and earth and wind and fire, right?
Yes.
And so as you move your tile, depending on what tile you bring in is going to affect which ones you get to pick up. And then there's going to be scoring based on like your stacks and you know who has the most of certain things. And
I like that how like the more of like certain ones you've collected, like that's how good you are with that skill. So
Right.
you get to take more tiles. 'Cause
right.
you've done,
Well, and it's not just get though; it's have to.
Yeah.
Because it
Correct.
can
You
also
might-
affect your strategy.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
be a
you're going to have to
hindrance to
take
take
things
too many.
Right. Like, oh well, now this is going to give me all even numbered
Yeah,
stacks.
so
I
sometimes
want
you
odd
purposely
numbers.
kind of
Yeah.
move a piece that has empty slots in the so you
Right.
can't
So you
take
don't
them.
take
Right. So you don't want to necessarily just gobble up all of the
Correct.
tiles.
Yeah, depending on the ever-changing scorecards. Yeah,
Yep.
you
Right.
might want a lot. You might want one stack that only has one and one that has a bunch. Yeah, a bunch of different stuff.
Gorinto is fantastic. I
Yeah.
really enjoy it.
Yep. It's you know what?
Dan, it's an abstract strategy game, and you love those,
Not
right?
only do
know.
I love it, I'm 3-0, baby.
Oh no!
I'm 3-0, baby.
Why you gotta bring
this-
that up, man?
This
This
doesn't
came out of
happen.
His hands. This came out of his hands.
Oh
Yeah.
man, and I've only cheated 2 of the 3 times. Just kidding. But you know what? I'm just gonna do it. We have a review of that game too, right there.
Oh,
Let's
damn.
this is always the section we go through all the snaps.
We do a lot of
anyway.
It
snaps.
is. You gotta save one for later, though.
I know.
Yeah,
I will.
saving one.
So one more until later.
Keep that
Make
in
it
your
count.
pocket. But yeah, so Gorinto. What else? What else have you guys got played?
That's all.
We played
I
Shadowgate.
had.
We're still
yep.
we played a prototype of Shadowgate. That will be coming to Kickstarter soon.
Yeah.
We do have an interview with the designers, and actually, I believe, are going to be in studio in the very near future
Yeah,
to
that'd be
talk about
cool.
some new stuff. So, the rule books and everything are all like in prototype form. The criticisms I think are fair that we've got. We'll save that for later, but it's on theme, and
Very on theme.
there's things that bothered Bob about it that didn't bother me,
Yep.
you know, as much. But I do feel like there's some mitigation and a couple little things that you could fine tune to make like an average game like a pretty good game.
Yep.
You know. So,
Yeah, I agree. There's a couple small, maybe nitpicky to other people things that I would personally add to it that I genuinely think would take it from like a pretty fun game to I'm even gonna say like a really good game.
Sure.
Like I don't know if I want to use the word great, but
Right.
possibly great game
Sure.
if just a couple little things are implemented.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of things that I did enjoy, but there's a couple of things I'm just like,
yeah.
Right, right. And some of that also is, you know, we've got prototype cards. They're
Yeah.
constantly updating and
Yeah.
stuff.
Exactly.
And so
some
we've
of
got
the wording's not quite finalized.
I mean, it has been a year since, almost a year, like since I've gotten updates from the version,
Right.
You know what I mean, that they are now, you know, where they're at now.
Right.
So we're not even 100% sure of all of the differences. But if you're a fan of the video game IP, like
You'll enjoy this.
you'll enjoy this, and it's going to look pretty
Yeah.
cool. Whether you're looking at Nintendo or what there was like Super Nintendo version or an N64 version, and then there's also the
Yeah,
PC
I
version.
picked up the
PC.
modern Steam version
Right.
for super cheap. So
Yep. And
Enjoyed
it's
it
just
a
a
lot.
good puzzle game.
Yep.
And yeah. So
yeah, it makes me a bit nostalgic.
Right.
Thinking of those old.
I love the
point
old.
click
I
games.
love the old Shadowgate music, like the Nintendo Shadowgate theme
Like
song. I
8-bit,
love it.
like-
Yeah. Just
Copyright.
Yeah.
As you click things, your torch is flickering.
Tim the Toolman Taylor.
I love it. No, never.
Lord, beer me.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Stop.
All right.
All right. What else we got? Any other games played?
No, I'm spent.
Magic, really.
Okay. Yeah, Magic.
Game.
Same.
Yeah, Magic's
Yeah. Been playing Ascension. Oh, Troy got on Star Realms. Our good
nice.
friend Troy.
Right on.
So if you get on to
Get
Star
on
Realms,
there.
you
You'll be
can
on
play
there.
with Troy.
I got so close this weekend to launching Magic Arena, just to be like, guys, I want to play. Where are you?
Yeah.
You know?
Send me an invite. Yeah. I'm like, oh, what? Yeah, wait, click. Oh, he's just jumping.
Yeah, sorry, he didn't accept fast enough.
Yep. Nope.
Alt F4.
Yeah.
Dan is a fickle friend.
Fickle is Einhorn. Anyway.
Yeah, right.
Ooh.
Okay, so we're going to news.
Yeah, sure, bro.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. Are you ready, kids?
I'm ready. Aye, Captain.
Yeah. SpongeBob Munchkin has been released. Yeah, you walked right into it. I opened that door up. Boom! Hit you with a big wet sponge.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
I was got.
Yeah, so they've announced SpongeBob Munchkin. It's Munchkin with SpongeBob. I will say, and I know
Spongekin sounds good.
Munchkin gets a lot of hate. I enjoy Munchkin every once in a while. Actually, Marvel Munchkin is really good. I like because just the Marvel theme. It's the powers you get and everything. The SpongeBob one looks very colorful, and I think kids would love it.
Sure.
But yeah, SpongeBob Munchkin.
Okay, there you go, all you Munchkin fans, all 3 of you.
Yep. Enjoy. I'm with you, Dan.
G.I. Joe. I know we talked about
never
this
played.
a little bit.
Yeah, last week. Yep.
Yeah, but G.I. Joe deck builder, fully co-op.
Yep.
The art, I saw some of the cards. I love the art.
Really?
Yeah, the art.
Is it cartoon?
Comic book art.
Okay.
Nice.
Really solid. Really solid. I have no idea about gameplay. We'll see what happens. I don't always, like it when they're just trying to tap me for the nostalgia vein. But I did love me some G.I. Joe back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm old.
I used to have tons of G.I. Joes. I used to take the screw out of the back and then swap out
You
their
could
arms
swap
and
out.
legs. Yeah. Make my own.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Well, mine it would just break, and then I would have a disabled, G.I. Joe.
Or the thumbs would break and then they can't hold their guns anymore.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, what good are you?
Yeah.
Nothing. I said, what good are you?
Yeah.
Can't even hold a gun.
I'm left-handed now.
You guys have any other news before I go into my last bit?
I have a
Yeah,
little bit
I
of news.
got
Yeah, go
quite
for
a
it.
bit.
Go for it. Go for it. One of you.
Go ahead.
Sure.
You said first.
So a game that Dan and I are excited about, Sniper Elite, the board game. They've released a little bit of details about the solo version done by friend of the show, David Turksey.
Yeah.
You guys tell me
He's
how to
such a
pronounce
good
his name.
friend,
He's such a
you
good friend.
don't
I can't pronounce his name right.
Yeah.
I don't pronounce yours right
In
either.
all fairness,
so.
he calls me Stanford.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, so no, it's he is working on the solo mode with Norleen Lubbers. I'm not sure who that is. I haven't heard of that person.
Okay.
But working in cahoots, I'm sure it'll be good. Instead of trying to, outwit your friends, and then it's more of a programmed movement. So you're trying to plan and organize to make sure you can get your movements, your end game stuff done. Instead of trying to play against somebody else, you're just playing against the pre-programmed movement instead. So yeah, but yeah,
Man,
looks interesting.
game looks so good.
It looks so good.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I hope it lives up because it looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a couple things. So Pegasus Spiel and designer Klaus Jürgen Raid announced Fire and Stone. I just bring this up because I thought it looked really cool. It's a little you use your little workers to explore, harvest food, build up villages. And one of the things that really got me here was that all the space on the board have exploration tokens on it. That when you go there, you flip them over, and then they change gameplay somehow, and they become a new action you can do. So as you're exploring, you're gaining more actions that you can do. I find that very interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a can't even think
Arnak a little
can't
bit,
even
right?
think what I'm trying to say like a Stone Age looking game, but it's not Stone Age. But you know what I'm saying. Anyway, look it up. Get some pictures here. Looks kind of cool. Excavation Earth had an expansion announced.
Nice.
It belongs in a museum.
Yeah.
Right.
Indiana
Classic
Jones,
Harrison Ford. So it adds 2 new races to play as. It adds new artifacts, of course, a deck of technology.
Ooh.
Have you played Excavation Earth yet?
I haven't played it yet. No.
Oh, you're the one that hasn't played
I
it.
have it.
Okay.
Yes, I
you
have
need to
it.
play it. It's so good.
Yeah. I need
And
to get
there's
more than two
a
people.
new museum board that goes on the side for new scoring. I'm sure what it is collect artifacts. And instead of placing it on your thing or discarding them, you can put them in the museum and get points that way, right?
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, Excavation Earth, very crunchy game.
Yeah.
We do have a review for that I'm not going to snap for right now, but you can find it.
It's out there.
But yeah, we have a review. We liked it, but found it very crunchy, like I said. So yeah, it belongs in a museum. Cool. This excited me quite a bit. Cryptid, Urban Legends.
Oh, yeah.
Sequel to Cryptid
Okay.
has been announced.
Little deduction game.
So, no.
Oh.
So yes, but no. This one seems like it's going to play like Spectre Ops. It's a 1v mini.
Okay.
Where one person is the cryptid,
Yeah.
and this is more a modern one to where all the other players are scientists using scanning radar and stuff like that to try to locate the cryptid. So instead of just straight deduction where it's like,
Right,
could it
right.
be here and go around, which I do love the original cryptid, but now it's actually someone like actively hiding
doing something.
and people trying to. So it seems very Spectre Ops
Okay.
to me, but still excited. By Osprey, of course, we all know that, and this one is supposed to come out in April of next year.
Okay.
So we'll see what
time.
happens there. And then the last bit of news I have, too bad Spencer's not here to talk about this. Did you guys not see this?
See this?
Restoration Games
Okay.
has announced
Oh,
Omega Virus
Virus.
Prologue.
Yeah.
So this is a real-time tableau building game where you reveal cards and create rooms to collect keys to then play locked rooms, and the locked rooms have certain critical equipment on it, and when you collect 3 pieces of critical equipment, you win. The super interesting thing here for Spencer is this is called Omega Virus Prologue because they have now announced they are working on and releasing a new edition of Omega Virus. Spencer's a huge fan. He jokes. He talks about it all the time. Last time we went over there for a game night, he had it set up playing.
Yeah, with his daughter.
Yeah, and so there you go, Spencer. Omega Virus is
Now that
back,
you'll watch
baby. He
this.
probably already knows this anyway.
You might.
Yeah, man, game came out in 1992 originally.
I had that game. I might still have it at my dad's somewhere.
Yeah.
Are
like,
there
in an
Celtic
attic.
dice in that?
There aren't, but I'm sure he's added his own.
Okay.
Fair enough.
That's it. That's all I got for
Okay.
news.
Yep, that's my news.
Which one?
What I had. The
Oh, yeah.
Sniper Elite,
It's the Sniper Elite.
Sure. Oh, yeah, Sniper Elite. So I thought this was a joke when I first saw this, but the
that's a
Horrified sequel, yeah.
Oh
also
yeah,
a
yeah,
game.
I saw this.
So Horrified American Monsters.
Okay.
Have you guys played Horrified yet?
Yes.
No, I know.
I played with you,
play
but
with
thanks.
me. It was a memorable experience.
Yeah.
I really like Horrified. I mean, it's not
light,
like
It's light. It's family weight.
It's
Yeah.
family weight, but it's solid.
Okay.
I mean, it's
as far as a family weight game goes, it's up there. It's a
yeah,
good one.
yeah. I mean, it's Prospero Hall. They're pretty accessible,
Sure.
light to medium weight, like
Right.
maybe. But anyways, they're doing American Monsters, which is going to come out in October, and so
So the original Horrified, Frankenstein,
Yes.
Dracula,
Yes.
right? The Mummy.
Yes.
Okay, now let's listen to these super awesome,
Oh,
iconic American ones.
I love it. I love it. I really do. Bigfoot,
That's a good one.
Mothman,
Eh,
Jersey Devil,
eh.
Chupacabra,
Eh.
Banshee of the Badlands, and the Ozark Howler. Now, I've never heard of the last two. But
I know
That's
the
what I'm
Ozarks,
saying.
I've seen the
So
show.
many of these are like.
Oh.
So
Great,
I just find it
iconic
funny.
American
Exactly.
monsters.
That's what I'm saying. Is I'm not blaming the game at all.
Right.
I just think it's weird to go with a theme that I think is a little reaching.
I mean,
They should have gone with like the lobbyist, you know,
but if,
The Karen.
the Karen. Ooh, scary.
but anyways, the production quality on Horrified itself, like proper, is really good.
And I'm sure the
Right.
game will be good, right?
Right,
It's
yeah.
just a reskin of a good game. It'll have some updates to make it even better.
Right.
I'm sure. I just think it's funny that we're
They're gonna
going
be
from
changing-
Dracula.
Do
And
any
stuff
of those
to
American
this.
monsters go to London?
I hope.
Okay.
But that was the werewolf,
Oh, right.
and
okay.
he went to London,
Yes, he did.
which features the best werewolf transformation scene ever put to film.
Well, it's up there.
All right, so that's really the news.
Yeah. Thanks. What happened in the industry that we didn't mention? We either couldn't mention a whole bunch, or
Right.
there's something we didn't hear about that you
Right.
might have some insider knowledge on. Let us
There-
know down there.
There's been a few.
Do our research for us.
There's been a few scandals stuff.
Yeah.
That I'm just I
Yeah.
don't have enough information to really go
Yeah.
into, but I just wish people would be nicer to other people.
Exactly.
Yep.
I just don't want to be a downer right here. But if you do want to talk about it, go ahead and comment below, and I'll engage, and we can talk about what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at we do not condone any of that nastiness.
Yeah,
'cause
no.
people are dumb and horrible.
Hey, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. I think that's what it is.
Why do we have to run fast?
Live, laugh, love.
I can't
no,
remember.
no.
It's something like that.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that either. All right. Let's get into crowdfunding then, guys.
I am super excited about my crowdfunding.
I'm super excited about my crowdfunding.
I'm
go
super
ahead.
excited.
And mine's not a game.
Oh.
It is a game accessory, boys.
Ooh, what do we got?
MagHolder, multifunctional modular card holding token box. So these are plastic. You can get plastic or metal, and they're these little token boxes that are like swooped in the box.
Yep.
You know,
pulling out bits.
So you can pull bits out.
Yep.
And they've got magnets on
Hold
the
them
sides
together.
and the tops, so you can either click them to
Or stack them.
or stack them up. And they've got plenty of little
Interesting.
sets that you can get pretty easily.
Covers and lids that magnet on so that the bits don't go everywhere when you
Well,
put it in
don't
the
get
box.
crazy. I don't know if they got lids.
So is this something that's like priced to where I can buy
was
a bunch
about
of
to
them
say
and
that.
put it in the box
That's
of the
the
game, or do
problem.
I leave it on the table and just use it?
So you can get 12 for $39.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
It's not bad.
Depends on the size of them.
Now
but from
those
what
are
I
the
can
plastic
see-
ones. The metal ones are
Sure.
way more expensive.
Yeah, I can't do it.
But yes, they've got tons you can buy. You can pick your colors.
Okay.
It is made really to buy. So like, look, see, there's wingspan cards will fit. Like that's the width.
See, look.
No, I was showing Bob.
Just look at Tim's phone.
I was showing Bob.
Picture.
So I mean, they can hold regular like standard
Size
size
cards,
cards.
sure.
Right. So boom, boom, boom. You got magnets. They can hold tokens. So the other side. So one side is for cards. If you flip it the other way, it's for tokens.
Oh, dual purpose. Got you.
So that way you
Okay.
decide which way you're going to use them. You could either buy a set and dedicate it to a game,
Right.
or you could just have
Have it at the table.
12 of them
Sure.
and you're just like
Right.
Yeah.
pull them off the shelf. Boom.
I think I'd probably have a couple on the table and then pick the games I think need it most.
Right.
Throw
That
the
you,
rest
that
in
games
there.
you play a lot
Yeah.
that you could use.
But
it.
I really
That's what-
I really thought these were awesome. I'm probably going to end up backing this at some level to get a bunch of them because
Yeah, they look cool.
They're pretty neat. And I really like nice accessories, right? That
Right.
you can bling out your game with.
Yeah.
So, because the other Kickstarter we will talk about, I'm sure somebody's going to talk about. We talked about it last week. We're going to talk about it again this week.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
Daniel.
Well, I'm just gonna
Stanford.
I'm gonna get a couple out of the way. So first of all, I don't really care about this because I don't own the game, but a lot of you will care that Architects of the West Kingdom has another expansion
Oh,
on
sure.
Kickstarter right
Never
now.
played it.
Called Works of Wonder. It is a fantastic game. But so it is ending on August 13th by Shem Phillips here.
Yeah, he's good stuff.
Yeah. Architects is a 1 to 5 player game, plays in 60 to 80 minutes. This goes for $27 for just the expansion, all the way up to $310, which is like everything for
everything that they've ever
Architects
printed, yeah.
and the
That's good.
collector stuff.
I like being able to get back
Yeah,
and get the old stuff. If you missed
delivering in May of 2022, it adds a board extension for the new area, of course, that has to do with wonders. There are 5 large wonder tokens and cards related to them. 6 new player boards that add more asymmetry kind of stuff to the game. More cards. It adds a solo mode, and relating to the wonder board again, it adds whole new paths to victory to make the game more interesting. So I just want to bring that up. A lot of you care about Architects of the West Kingdom. I'm sure it's a very popular game. It's a great game. I just don't own it. So Works of Wonder is currently on Kickstarter. Check it out if you didn't know about that already. And then I will talk about Langskip. We already talked about it earlier, but it is a 2 to 4 player game just to get the rest of the information out. Plays in 20-30 minutes. The Kickstarter goes for $21 for the game, and they said approximately $9 shipping. Obviously, that's an American thing because that's where we are, depending on where you are. But it's so $21 up to the $70 for the collectors,
Right,
and that is
which
supposed
is
to be.
really reasonable price.
I
for-
completely agree for both. And supposed to be delivering November of this year. Pretty good. We'll see how close to the mark they
Sure.
hit. As long as they make it before Chinese New Year, right?
Yeah, that's February, so you got time.
Oh wait, he was the one that doesn't care about that because
He's printing
he
in
can
England.
print it in
He's
England. Yeah,
printing
never
it
mind.
in England, so the turnaround's going to be real quick
Yep.
for him. All right, Bobby.
Okay. So one of my favorite things about growing up, we go on road trips, right? And you always see these crazy license plates, and you're like, what does that mean? What is he trying to say?
Oh, yeah.
And, right? So there's a game now. It's on Kickstarter, and it's called Road Trippin'. And you get like a little card. It's got some suggestions of phrases and things like that. And you get a vanity plate with a dry erase, and you have to like write it in
nice.
vanity plate style, and then your team has to try to guess.
I like
what
this.
You're, yes,
I was
it's another like
I was
word
not sure where
puzzling.
this was going, and now I'm in.
Yeah,
I am in.
And it looks super fun, right? Because you're always like, oh, like clubbing or something, like just some
Right.
weird like phrase with
Right, 'cause
numbers
you have
and
to
things
fit
like
it in a
that.
certain amount of
So
letters.
you could have like
Exactly.
a Y,
And, yeah.
a U, MDBRO.
Why you mad?
Why you mad, bro?
Exactly. And then so you can try, and you can play different ways to play it. It says you can play, competitively, teams, or just try to get everybody to work together. Kind of like just a party fun game like this.
Like just one or whatever, right?
And this looks super fun. Like I said, I've always had so much fun growing up. Yeah, called Road Trippin'. And then they have a thing too for super cheap. It's like $15 where you can get your name and phrases on a card. And
Dan, calm down.
How cool is that? And then and if your team can't guess it, and the other team can try and guess it and steal for the win.
Right. So you don't want to make it too obvious.
Maybe. But but it looks super neat. Like
this is interesting. Bob never brings up party games.
I know. But this is one that I can get behind.
Today we're going to talk about Road Trippin' and War Room.
So they have a metal edition, right? So the plates you get are actually kind of like metal.
Oh, wow.
So it's like an actual license plate, and that collector's edition is $49.
$49 for the metal edition?
Yeah. KSE, Kickstarter exclusive metal edition, $49. Free USA shipping.
What the fudge?
Yeah, dude. Like super cool, right? 4 Kickstarter exclusive plates, $39 for the retail version, and then what?
How much is retail?
$39.
How much is exclusive?
$49. So $10 extra to get metal plates. Yeah. Yes, please.
Wow, I feel like we're doing an infomercial.
I know, right? And then it's
and how much?
There's more.
For $15, you can get your name and phrase on one of the cards and become part of the game forever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that not limited?
No, there's already been over 300 plus submitted. They're just going to make more cards. If they get so many, they'll just make more cards.
Cards are easy to print.
Cards are easy to print. So, super cool little party game, light game. Yeah. Excited. Check it out.
Those are called plosives.
Plosive? What?
Man. When's that end?
15 days to go. So by the time this comes out, you'll have
2 weeks.
About
just under 2 weeks.
under 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
right on. Lots of time.
Lots of time.
Cool.
Fan.
I saw that. I was like, man, that looks like so much fun. I remember doing that when I was little.
Yeah.
Even now, I'm driving around like, what's that mean? Following the guy around.
I was literally with you the other day, and we were staring at one like, does that mean what we think it's supposed to mean?
Hopefully.
Yeah. A new start. Yeah. Watch that show at all.
Yeah. So anyways, another Kickstarter we're all excited about for no particular reason.
Yeah.
Other than it looks super cool, right? Oros.
Yeah.
Which is you are a demigod and you're shifting tectonic plates to make land masses. And then in doing so, you're creating civilizations and spreading them around and building shrines.
Followers.
Yeah, creating mountains, right? Because as land comes together, it builds up.
Yep.
And the amazing thing, right, is as tiles fall off the one side, they come on the other side, right?
Because contrary to unpopular belief, the Earth is round.
That's how science works.
Yeah.
And then the other awesome thing
it's a double-sided board, so
is it's got
it could be flat.
It's got the scythe sort of aspect to it, where you when you're going to select an action to take, and so you place a worker there. Now that action is blocked
used, right?
until you pull a worker off. And then the other kind of neat thing, though, is that the more workers you have, the more your actions are going to be limited.
You got to get them out there on the board.
Right.
And what's cool, too, is you can upgrade those actions to make them stronger.
Yes.
I really
so some of that
that
made me think of like Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, how you can like upgrade your buildings, and then your actions that you then take with different characters are better, or improved actions. I love all that kind of stuff.
Same.
So Oros is on Kickstarter. It will, when this drops, will be like 7 days.
Yeah.
It's August 12th is when it ends. So yeah, you'll have about a week.
But yeah, I mean, $50 for standard edition, $75 for a collector's edition.
Collector's edition, though, they're almost at the dual layer boards, which will be really nice. So yeah, get in on it. Help me get my dual layer boards because I want dual layer boards.
Bob may or may not be back in this game.
I may or not.
It's already safe.
It is safe.
I would say. And gosh, I would just love if we had an opportunity to like interview this guy.
Yeah,
man, that would be pretty cool.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I'll reach out, I guess. I don't know
What
about
would
that.
Be like?
What would that be like? An interview. Hey guys, with us today we have Brandt from Aesc Games, and he is here to talk to us about his new Kickstarter, Oros. What's that mean?
It means mountain, and I know that from professional research. Yes.
Okay.
Plural or singular?
Huh?
Plural or singular?
I don't have to answer that.
Okay,
is Oros one mountain or is that multiple mountains? I don't know.
All right, so Brandt, right now you have this Kickstarter going really strong.
Yeah.
Were you surprised at how fast it seems like Oros? I don't know. To us, it seemed like it funded really fast.
Well, there weren't a lot of people who knew all about the project. The people who did know about the project were very passionate about it. So
Sure.
I did know I had a good, strong base of people who had been playtesting, or people who'd seen it, or just like had come in through either Instagram or through Facebook, or
Right.
through ads and things like that I knew that were like excited about it. So I wasn't surprised when it funded really quickly. But the biggest hurdle, of course, has been getting that further and further out, because
Right.
there's millions of gamers in the world, and not all of them know about the game.
Right.
And
It's only so much, right? If only your bubble, your your group,
Yeah.
gets
Exactly.
it and gets into it. But it seems like it's doing really well.
It is. I wanted to say also, Bob, just so you know, not the next one, but the second next unlock is dual layer player boards.
Oh my
so
gosh! I mean, let me pledge.
I just want to let you know. I know you're really into that.
I do love dual
everybody's
layer
talking
boards.
about this.
So
Yeah,
good.
everybody's been asking for them, and
I'm going to do something that we never do. I'm actually going to snap to a video that's not ours.
Wow.
Because I want all of you guys to check out his how to play video. Brandt's how to play video for this game is kind of what spawned this interview, because I was so impressed with this interview. It's one of the best, or not interview, with this how to play. It's one of the best how to plays I've ever seen. Probably the best how to play on Kickstarter I've ever seen. And I'm not going to lie, down the road when we start doing how to plays, I might take some pointers, because it was so well done. So check that out. But why would they want to check that out? Brandt, maybe describe what Oros is. What are people doing in this game?
well, so Oros, and I think what the big draw with the game is that it uses mechanics that you haven't seen before, that you haven't interacted with before. And so, especially people who are passionate with games, they say they're like, I've never seen that before.
Right.
Like, I just need to interact with this game. And so some things that make it really interesting is that the entire game is kinetic. You have a shared environment in the middle, and that shared environment is constantly shifting and moving, and the players are able to collide land together, which, the tile shifting and the tile movement is a unique mechanic. And those things are building up to form mountains, where your little followers are trying to climb around on this constantly shifting continent,
Right.
trying to get to mountains where they can build, they can gain wisdom, they can gain knowledge. So the whole point of the game is to seek out and find greater light and knowledge.
Right on.
And so that part of it is, I think, really engaging, especially when you see it in the video and you see things like moving around. You really get like, oh, okay, that's a different thing than I've ever experienced before. And so I think that's really interesting. And then there's also this worker placement tech tree side of the game too, that also I think it's understated. When you first see it, you don't really realize that it's there, but when you start playing it, you really realize that like that's actually as big a part of the game as the interactive part.
Well, and
that
I've
also
only
makes it
seen
really
something
unique.
like that in a few different things. Like, that is something I've seen in maybe like 2 games.
Well,
and I'm always like, why doesn't every game, that works in this kind of way? And you add that with the shifting board, which just gives you different, like the replayability now is through the roof.
Right.
I love
You have the
that
natural asymmetry, like, because
It is.
we love asymmetric players, but you get to just cultivate your own version of the asymmetry.
right.
the
What do you
way
want to be good at?
Yeah.
I say like one of my favorite things in Scythe is like how that action selection is done, but then his takes it and you can actually like level up those abilities and change them and make them better or stronger and go in
Right.
different ways, and that just takes that like to the next level for me.
Right.
I really
Right.
enjoy that mechanic.
I love pulling off the this map feels like a globe, right?
It
it's
is,
a
yeah.
Oh,
flat
the way that it
board.
rolls
yeah, 'cause it
around.
rolls
The
around.
flat board
Yeah.
feels like a globe, not only with the spinning outer layer, which is probably the coolest part, but then the fact that all the pieces, as they move off one side, come up the other side, and it truly feels like you're playing on a round board in as practical a way as you can.
Right.
It really does. It really does. And it's
Yeah.
one of those things that it takes time for players to wrap their heads around, because they're not used to thinking. Because you have to think in a different way. You have to really think creatively about like, oh, even though it's on both sides of the board, those are actually touching. I can walk there.
Right.
I can grab those together. And
Yeah.
And so it definitely there's a lot of spatial puzzling and spatial reasoning that's going into the game.
I'm looking forward to losing my first couple games terribly because I just miss an obvious move where it's like, oh, if you would just push that 2 off the right side, you could have hit something on the left side that was a 2, and then you make a 4,
Yep.
and
Well,
I'm
what's going to
gonna
happen?
miss so much of that.
What's going to happen to
Right.
me is I'm going to make a move that I thought was really good for me, but
Yeah.
was 3 times better for Bob.
Right.
And then he will.
and
go.
I approve
Yeah.
that.
But
Have you caught any flack from like the flat earthers? Like, that's not how land works. You push the land off the edge, it goes into space. It's like,
I loved the mechanic too in this game, where all the land tiles have different numbers, right? And And I didn't even notice at first until you explained it and how to play that that's also linked to the artwork that a 2 has 2 land sides on the tile, so 2 water sides. I didn't even notice that at first. So that's nice. Not only is it thematic, but it'll make teaching slightly easier, right?
Yep.
But I just love the mechanic of making the lands crash into each other using, like tectonic plate ideas and stuff. And then so a 2 and a 2 makes a 4. And so and then if you combine 2 4s, you get a big mountain, and then mountains can cause a volcano. And like all this stuff is just, again, you're like a one-man team as far as the actual design goes on the game, right? I know you have helpers with Kickstarter and marketing and stuff, but I just coming up with these ideas, I was so impressed. Again, I reached out to you for a reason. I loved this.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I know. I know so far it's literally just compliment interview, but I just want to get it out. I just want to get it out of the way because I was so impressed.
Dan has been building up like a volcano all week. So
Yeah. And soon I'm going to explode, but only in straight lines orthogonally.
That's right. Until you unlock the ability to do so.
Right.
Correct, yeah.
I'm not there yet.
It's Dan. He's not going to progress that
No.
He'll be out. What impressed me was the because a lot of games will do like multiple ways to score points. Multiple, not paths to victory, right? But like bringing up the ziggurat. Like I always like the scoring where you can't tie with somebody. You've got to pass them, and then when you've got the spaces that trigger. The eruptions or whatever for the red spaces that can only pop once, right? And as you go, but then when you tie that into the other ones, how hard was that to balance? Like for me, it's like I could just come up with one thing and hopefully it works. It would be balanced, but to have 3 separate ones and they all work together and it seems like they all work in tandem with and seem pretty balanced. And it's like, how the heck do you come up with not 1, not 2, but 3, different ways to.
Are you going to say 3 years of
score
research?
Knowledge.
Is that what you're going to say?
And it's very true. It comes from a lot of testing, a lot of play testing and a lot of changes and tweaks. The game originally started as just like a simple little tile moving thing, right? I was enamored with the concept of the map, but then rose the question like, well, how do I have this power, and how what's really happening, and what are all the things that I can do with it? And that evolved into just more of like a deck building type of game. But when the player mats came into play, and how like that ascension track actually works in the game, that's those 3 things. You think of it as kind of like a triangle, right? Like you have to have them, because one alone doesn't actually operate. It mechanically is unsound, and so they kind of came to fruition. They came to being together
just out of
because
necessity,
they had to be there. Yeah, they had to be there in order for everything to balance properly, and so it definitely took years.
So how long did it take you how long have you been working on Oros before you brought it to Kickstarter?
Yeah, so this game, I've been developing it for almost 5 years.
Wow.
And so, but really it's the last 2 years that have really been a push, like a real strong development. I had submitted to the Board Game Design Workshop, which is run by Chris Anderson, back in 2019. And that's really where it got its real...
got some legs.
I didn't realize what was going to happen when you submit it into like a workshop like that, but then it quickly got accepted in as the next, to the next round. And then it was like, now you have to have a full rule book, and now you have to have a full like game, and it all has to work. And now we're going to play it, and it really forced.
Well, there's something about having deadlines, right?
Yeah.
We're like, this is like a fun thing I do on the side. Where, no, I've got to have this done by.
Oh yeah, it accelerated everything. I wouldn't be near as where I am today if I hadn't been submitting to that one, and then the Ion Award. I just kept submitting to different awards, and that kept setting new deadlines. Where it's like, oh yeah, these few things are broken. I've got to fix it before I get it over there. And so
you kind of just answered a question I was going to ask with his previous question. But so the mechanisms did come before the theme with this one, huh? You had the mechanisms, and then the theme kind of worked itself in because of just how thematic it was? Or were they kind of in tandem from the beginning, and it was just working them together that mattered?
At first, like I said, it was just like a geology game at first.
Right.
But then, actually one of the questions that was asked during the workshop is like, how do I have this ability? How do I have power to do this? And that's sort of like, that's a really good question. How do you have power to
and then
do this,
the easiest answer ever is like, well, you're a demigod.
You have godlike power.
When in doubt, that
Control
is
the land, obviously. And so it has been kind of, it's been weaving in and out, right? As new things developed, thematically it also developed. And so, and it really, I think of it more as like a maturing right?
Sure,
It started
yeah.
as like an infant, and it kind of just like grew and matured to the point that it is today.
Well, it's nice when it evolves organically, and because then it's not just like a pasted on theme. Because your game, right? Oros is not a game where you could just slap on any theme,
Right.
and it's going to work, right? It's very specific, and
It is.
that's good though, because that means the theme is actually important to what you're doing. And then even if you don't care, if for people that do care about it, because the people that don't care about theme, they don't care about theme in anything. But the people that do care about theme, every game, like, it has to feel integral to the gameplay. And so you really appeal to that side. I can go either way. Like, a game can have no theme, and I'm fine.
Right. As long as it has fun mechanics in it and whatnot.
Right. But if it's got a really good theme, I do get more excited about it. Right. Because then, you know, you're into the story. You're into like, oh, why is this happening? You know, and all that stuff. So I like Dan, like, started to get more like, oh, I should actually pay attention to this. Because it was coming across my Facebook, you know, like you'd see that and, you know, so-and-so backed, you know, Oros. Like, you get the notifications on Kickstarter when your friends back things. And then it's like, and then you came in and started talking about the stuff and reaching out, and it's like, well, I gotta like actually look at this thing, and that's when it's like, holy smokes, like this looks pretty cool. So,
yeah, I literally, my only regret is that I saw it like a week after it had already launched on Kickstarter.
Sure.
I wish I had seen it earlier, because I could have, you know, tried to put stuff together sooner. But like I said, the second I saw the Kickstarter page and then watched the how to play video, I was like, it's not even like I was fishing for an interview, right? I was just like, I gotta tell this guy, this how to play is fantastic.
it is really good.
So,
it is really good. Did you put all that together yourself? Like the editing and everything?
Yeah, I scripted it and filmed it all by myself.
How long did that take you? I just want to know.
3 years.
And did all the 3D animation, right? That's the
I did
part
all the
that's-
animation,
that's the part
all
that
that
blows
stuff
my
too.
mind. I can't do that. But yeah, it's
a really good.
Again,
I
I'll
really-
stop mentioning the how to play. I know. I know.
No, but it's solid. It's really solid. It's really good. You don't always see that on Kickstarters, especially independent. You know, is this your first game?
This is my first game. This is my first go at a Kickstarter. This is the first for everything for me. So,
Wow.
And a lot of it, I mean, it's all self-funded and produced. So,
Right.
I didn't have the cash flow to go hire someone to make it how to play. So, like, well, I've got the skill set. We're gonna make we're gonna make some videos.
And your transparency with that skill set is the other thing that impressed me a lot, because again, just people who go check out his how to play on his YouTube channel going back years are videos of like, oh, hey, here's how I make my prototype copy. Like, you'll need these materials, and I just build it. People don't understand how much that helps people, right? Like, I'm not going to lie. Tim and I are working on some games in our background. I'm going to watch those videos repeatedly and see what skills I can pick up and stuff from that, because it is so appreciated to see someone in the industry, which I know you say it's your first game, but still, you have a successful Kickstarter on a game that looks great. So someone in the industry saying, here's how I made my first prototype copy, and here's how you can make it too. And it's so appreciated.
It's just so inviting, right? Because there are times in this hobby where there are gatekeepers, and it's a club. And if you're not in the club with the right people, you're not going to get all that information.
Like, it's not an easy thing to find too. A little off topic, but I've done some testing of game designs for myself in the past stuff, and it's always just been my own terrible Photoshop skills and printing stuff out, or my mom has a Cricut and she'll try to 3D prints in a Cricut for me so I can test stuff out, and like to see it other ways of someone who has a successful Kickstarter now. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll put some of these thoughts together here and see what I can do. So again, just very appreciated. We don't see enough designers being that transparent about the early stages, right?
Sure.
You see the late stages and the successful stages, but seeing the testing is just awesome. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah. Well, that was a whole learning curve, like how to make a prototype. At first I was like, oh, I'll print these cards out. I'll print them double-sided. I'm going to laminate them. And then I run a playtest, and I'm like, I have to change them all. I just went through all this work, and every single thing has to change. And so I realized, there's way better ways to do this, where you're just not burning through your cash flow or your resources.
Yeah, so I might have a laminator and Photoshop.
You just said don't use.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's that's what I'm saying. That learning process is not easy.
Right. Yeah. So were you a board gamer then before you got into?
Okay, my question.
Right on.
Oh yeah,
right
board
on.
games for decades and decades.
So
Yeah.
what's your favorite game that's not
big
Oros
gamer.
then?
What did you say?
What's your favorite game that's not Oros then?
Concordia.
I
it's my
love
favorite game
Concordia
always.
so much. I love Concordia so
Wow.
much. I love that action selection.
Did you guys just become best friends?
Love
So
Concordia.
true.
do
Like
some
the,
kung fu in the
the way
garage.
that the action selection, I love how like every single mechanic in there, like you can't take a thing out.
Right. No,
And it
you're
still plays.
absolutely
You
correct.
cannot. It's just so tightly woven together.
It's
And
not like,
so,
oh, I
like,
never use this. Or I never use this.
Never.
Yeah.
No, it's like everything
Concordia is
has
so
a meaning,
tight.
and so
I've never even played it with the expansions. I've never played any of the
I thought you were gonna
Concordia.
say, I've never even played it.
You gotta
You're
keep
an ass.
listening, man. You gotta keep listening.
Yeah, but I've never I've heard Salsa is great, but I've never played with the expansion. But man, just the base game Concordia out of the box. The first time
I'm
I
the same
played
way.
it, 3 turns in, I'm like, I'm in love with this game.
Wow.
Like I just absolutely love
I need to
Concordia.
play that game.
That is a you kind of game.
And that's what I've been told.
Yeah, you've got the brain for that game. Just to plan that far ahead and see all the cogs turning and
It's because I make gears, isn't it? So
it might be.
Have
It might
you?
be.
So I don't know how to word this, right? But so with all your play testing, have you found one of the actions that gets leveled up faster than all the other ones?
Ooh, that's a good question.
So it all depends on who you're playing with. There's like the journey ability in the game is a very powerful ability. And so often like people will do that first, and some people will go up to the top. The thing with it though is there's no points associated with it.
Right.
And so you can invest in it and you can have like that strength, but you also have to make sure that strength is going to equate to other points. You're going to have to gain 7 other points somewhere else in the game. And so it does really all of those action spaces, they're not perfectly even, and some people point that out. They're like, this one's a little weaker than that one. Well, it's weaker at first, but when you get to the up or the top, it's much more powerful.
Right.
And so it's
Sneaky
really more of a
engine
balance
builder.
of when you invest in what, because you might want certain things early on, but it's going to slow you down later, because that one's not as valuable later in the game, but it is valuable in the beginning of the game and vice versa. So
I like that you built in kind of a mitigating factor there too with the runaway track, to where I can't remember what it's called right now. I'm sorry. Is it called the Horizons? Is that what it's called?
yeah, the horizons that go across.
Yeah,
Yep.
so you have those horizon unlocks that says you will only get this extra guy here once all of your pieces move up to a certain height. So that way it's not like, oh, well, I don't care about upgrading that one at all. I'm going to have all the movement in the world. And it's like, well, then you're never going to unlock this other thing. You got to get those other ones up there. So that's kind of a nice little balancing, mitigating thing to get people to focus on all of them too.
And that's something that's odd about this game too. It's a worker placement game where you don't want workers. And so when you unlock that worker, you have to have planned in advance to make sure that there's a place for that guy to go. So he goes and studies, and then you're going to get points for studying. So you're essentially getting a point, right? He's going out. And you can use him. You can take advantage of that piece. But if you ever bring that piece back, it's going to clog up your action spaces, because the more followers you have on your board, the harder it is to play. So you're trying to like get them away from you. You're trying to get them out onto the board, or out studying, or out doing something, because if they're in front of you, they're just in the way. They're just a hassle.
It's a very interesting balance to have guys on the board so that your actions are free, but also not. You don't just want one guy on your board, right? Oh, I guess one guy on your board wouldn't be a bad thing. Because I'm trying to think, because I was thinking you'd want the multiple workers for options, but you only move one at a time anyway, right?
One at a time, and you can just keep moving that guy. So it's a great thing when you've cleared out your board. The problem with it is when they come back, when you return them, you get wisdom. Wisdom makes you stronger. And so at some point you're like, I just need better powers, or I need points. I need to win, right? And so you're going to have to start bringing them back, and then they start clogging up your stuff again. And so, again, it's almost like every decision in the game has a positive, and that positive has some sort of negative correlation, right? Like you're going to get something, but it's also going to take something from you when you get it. And so it's always about the timing of like, when do you do it, and when you do it, making sure that you don't mess yourself up by like clogging up the wrong spots, so you can make your right action, your next action, that you can actually do it.
Yeah, that's the thing, because you move a worker to activate a spot, so it's kind of like Scythe, right? To where a guy is can't be activated, kind of thing.
Right.
So it's interesting, that mechanic of, like you're saying, bringing your guys from your study, wherever you put them, you cannot be your next action. So
Correct.
I am so looking forward to being terrible at this game.
So are we.
Yeah, we are really looking forward to beating you at this.
Love it.
So, what's the learning curve on this? Because we play a lot of games with like family members that aren't as hardcore gamers. Now we will all sit down and play like the heaviest game you can find and be happy to do it.
I mean, I can't get them to play Dune with me, but it's fine.
We just got to get 6 people in 8 hours. That's the problem.
I mean, get on my level.
But
it's
go for it.
Honestly, it doesn't even depend on if you're. I think experienced gamers definitely pick up things a lot faster because there are certain mechanics, right, that are just natural, right? Because you're like, well, I'm used to like a worker placement concept.
Sure.
I'm used to like how that's going to work. You don't have to explain it to me. So there's that type of learning curve. But really, it's more about the spatial puzzling. So usually, it's people who can see spatial puzzles pick up the game like
really
right
good.
away. They say, oh, I'm shifting, I'm moving, I'm doing. Okay, this all makes complete sense, and they can just jump right in, and they don't have really much of a problem. It's really, and I've seen like really experienced gamers just like just locked down because like the puzzle of the whole thing is like it's very deep, right? So there's deep strategy. You can definitely play really lightly and you actually get by pretty well in the game.
Sure,
you know, you're not going to just like fail in the game even if you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to do this. I don't know, because there's a lot of the game is symbiotic.
Yes.
So you're relying on each other. And so even if you're kind of like messing around at first and not really focused on, you can't figure out what you're doing, once other people start doing it, and you're like, oh, I can just go over there and I can start, you know, I can get back in the game. And so you never really get left behind, and you never, you know, you can always compete even if you might not fully win because you're not investing properly. But
do you see a lot of hate shifting? Like, I know that this move will not benefit me, but he's going to be set up for a really good turn.
Yeah,
and I point at Bob specifically because that's who I would do it to, because you'd be playing so terribly.
Well, because you can push other people's followers around and make it to where they can't move to the spot they want to move.
Or like
stuff. So.
push somebody's like 2 away from their other 2, so they can't push them together to make a 4, kind of a thing.
You can absolutely do that.
Drafting,
but you think of it, so you have 3 actions on your turn. And the reason why you have 3 actions is because a lot will happen by the time it comes back to your turn. So your first action really is all about just like recuperating from whatever happened.
Right.
And so, if somebody pushes you away, well, you have an action to be able to get back, right? It's not going to end, you know, you're not just going to be out in the water. Your second action is usually about advancing in some way, right? Like, okay, well, I'm on a 4, I need to get to the mountain, I'm going to get to the mountain. And then your third action is some sort of development. So that's typically what your actions are going to be doing. And so no matter what somebody does to you, there's always some other opportunity. There's some way that you can still advance. It may not be your original goal, right? It might not be what you were originally planning on doing, but there's always going to be something that you can do. Now, there's definitely like something people are like, oh, I'm definitely shifting this because it'll help me and hurt you.
Right.
That's the best thing I can possibly do, right? Make it inconvenient for you while it's good for me. All right, like that's a good move. Yeah. So.
Well, we've got a friend that it doesn't matter what game we're playing. If you affect his turn in any way, that's why I Pete. Pete. Anytime, if you're playing a deck builder and you dropped a card he wants, you take your worker.
There goes my whole turn.
Yeah.
You certainly can't play in a way that you're just always aggressive, though, because if you really think of it, your 3 actions are your only real resources to play the game. So if you burn one to put someone away, they're just going to burn one to come back.
Right.
And that's a third of your turn.
It's a net zero, right? Like you've got nothing. You know,
you didn't the other player's like, okay.
And if you burn too many of those, the person who wastes, really, I tell people this all the time, the person who wastes the most actions and the person who wastes the most wisdom is going to lose. It's always the person who's the most efficient with their actions and most efficient with their wisdom.
Right.
That's who's going to win the game. And so, if you want to like push someone away, you just have to make sure that it's also benefiting you in some way, or else it's not going to be worth it.
It's important to play your game and not worry about trying to hate draft on somebody else so much.
I mean, if you can make those two things alive,
right. Then go
Bob
for
is
it.
always looking to make those two things alive.
Yeah.
Right on. What's the now? I know you've got, what is it, 2 to 4 players, 1 to 4 players.
1 to 4.
What's the ideal player count? Like if you're
plays best at.
Yeah, because sometimes those 1 to 4, sometimes really like 3 players is where it's at, right? Or not all the way, or sometimes even 2 players. So what's your
okay? This is such a hard question to answer because if you're a solo player, there's like some people will say like that's the way to play. I've actually had one of a solo reviewer. He's like, I would never play a 4-player game of this because they just want the solo. Because the solo has every one of the player mats flips over and there's an automa on the back. And each one of those automa are different. So they all have their own little play style, their own personality, their own strategy. And you have to figure out how to solve that puzzle of that automa itself to be able to beat it. So they're actually kind of difficult to beat. So some people would say that. There's others who have said like 3 players their favorite because 3-player on the small map is their favorite. And it plays best there just because you can build 3 sacred sites per mountain. And so it makes sure that everybody can have one of those. It's just a little bit more friendly. I personally think it plays best at 4 just because there's only 3 people building.
Right. Lock somebody out.
That means one person's missing out, right?
Yeah.
And there's like this extra tension that comes into the game where you can't just be a lazy last-minute builder because you will miss out on some things. And so you have to be more engaged, more active in the game. And so that's my preference, but it really comes down to like who you are and what the way you like to play.
There's definitely some games where I'm like, I will never play that at max player count because it will take way too long or whatever.
No, but I fully agree with the 4-player count thing with this one. I think not only is that such a great, I mean, obviously depending on your player group, right? But that's such a great feeling of the not wanting to be the last person left out, but also the way the tile shifting works in this game, like the more players, the more just chaos. Like the tiles are nowhere near they were at the end of my last turn, you know, and I think that's going to lift the game up and like you were saying earlier, my impression from this game was the abstract strategy game players and like the chess players and stuff are going to be the ones that really know, okay, this tile moves here, which affects this. Like, because it's funny because it's the abstract strategy players are going to have an advantage, I think, but the game is like, it's a worker placement action selection game. So like it's so much not an abstract strategy game, but so much of the game, such a big percentage of the game is manipulating that board that I think that they're going to have a way. I think they're going to be scared when they look at it because it's not an abstract strategy game. And then you're like, try it out. And they're going to love it. That's what I think.
There's actually way more correlations to chess than you might think on the surface. I usually tell people it's like if chess were a Euro game, where volcanoes erupt, that's really what you're playing here.
I just like chess again.
Chess is a lot more exciting with volcanoes.
It is, yeah.
And even like I pointed this out too, on the Ascension track, there's those 2 red dots. There's one at 5, one at 10, and then the end is at 15. And I point this out all the time that those first 5 dots are like your starting moves, like in chess, right? Like your opening. Yeah. And then you have a middle game, and then you have an end game. And when somebody hits one of those red dots, you know that you're now transitioning from making opening moves, which is where like you're just trying to get onto a mountain, try to like get your civilization started. You enter into a middle game where it's all about like just getting onto other places, building as much as you can, and then the end game is all about like making sure that you're getting points for all of the work you've been doing. And so it kind of gives you these clear indications of like, okay, now I need to transition what I'm doing to my next thing. I got to stop investing in powers because I'm not going to get anything from those powers at the end of the game. I need to figure out how what I've done is going to equate to some sort of value before this game ends.
That's an interesting.
And the game speeds up as it goes on too. So and when you get to that number 10 spot, like you can expect you only have maybe 2-3 turns at max.
Wild.
To
it's
like
not even
really
like the halfway point. It's like this is where we're really like 3/4 of the way done.
I'm really happy that my accidental chess Euro analogy was way more accurate than I thought. I did that on purpose.
Yeah. Well, like the game, when you play, you're gonna just be pulling stuff. Out of places
on purpose
and just hoping.
Yeah. No, I love that spatial awareness like types of games and whatnot. Like I enjoy it because I can kind of see that in my head.
Yeah, you're good at that kind of stuff, and you are good at planning ahead, way better than I am.
So
does he look like the kind of guy who has a plan?
So I think the viewers basically understand how the game plays. So is there anything else you want people to know that we haven't covered yet? Maybe information about
or something
the game?
that somebody might miss on the Kickstarter page. Right. Scroll through the whole thing.
Yeah, how to pronounce Ask games. No, I mean, we've kind of hit off on all the things: the work placement, the tech trees. We talked about the spatial, puzzle that's out in the middle, the shared environment, which I think is also kind of it excites some people and it scares some people having like a shared environment until you start to really interact with it and you realize, if I'm paying attention to what my other players are doing and if I pay attention to what abilities they have, because there's no hidden information, like everybody knows what everybody can do. You can really anticipate a lot, right? And so for players who like to anticipate or who are willing to actually pay attention to the game, not just like, oh, it's my turn. I think I'll, and like playing on the fly. You can anticipate a whole lot, and you can build around it. Like you can build your strategy around like where you think things will be before it ends. So it's not like, it doesn't feel like it's all chaos or anything like that there, because you can actually plan quite a bit, and you can anticipate quite a lot. Now, people of course will always surprise you. Right. You think that like they're definitely going there and they definitely don't go there. And so you have to adapt to it. But there are a lot of ways you can do that. And then also there are things like, when you're on a land tile, that tile can move. It can get like, it's kind of out of your control. Someone else can move you. But when you're on a mountain, you're a lot safer. Even if your mountain gets moved, you're still on the mountain. No one can take that away from you. You can build, right? Like you have your opportunity. So there are ways that you can also play the game to make sure that you're, what the work you've done, you're going to get something out of it, right? Like somebody can't mess it up. And so that's another factor, I think, that like once people kind of clicks, like, oh, don't do something halfway. Got it. Like if you're going to do something, do it like all the way. Because if you go halfway, you're not going to be able to do the second half. I can promise you, like the second half's not going to happen for you. So
now I'm going to ask I don't know, I guess an industry sort of question. So with a game like Oros and all your components and everything and the way that you're set up, like what I know Kickstarter, like, oh, it's going to ship and blah, blah, blah. I never really hold anybody to, when do you expect this to ship? But how hard is it to produce? Is it going to be to produce your game? Because I back a lot of games. I back games that got minis. And of course, that always makes stuff take a lot longer. It seems like with tiles and standees that should be relatively easy. With, other than maybe like printing errors or like some cleaning up some design stuff here and there. Like it seems like relatively straightforward process. But I'm always curious, like, so how hard is it to actually get that game made once you're funded and you're now into the meat and potatoes? Like I just got to get all of this together.
Well, I've never actually worked with a manufacturer in China before, so that's where like I've given myself a really nice padded timeline to make sure that I can actually deliver within the time frame that I'm listing there.
Sure.
But I'm a professional graphic designer. I've been in the printing industry for decades. I've printed all over the nation at some of the best printers, so I know a lot about the printing process.
You'll have
like
all
what
that,
it takes to do all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so like I have a background in that. And so that's one of the reasons why I didn't go with any minis and things like that. That's like way outside like anything that I've ever done before. And this being my first go at it, I did not want to get myself over.
Well, that increases your costs. That increases time. So, it probably also changes your options as far as like where you can have the game manufactured, right? Because some are capable of doing some things and other
increases
things.
Headache.
Yeah. I'm a nerd about some of that stuff sometimes, so I'm always like, I'm like just kind of curious how difficult things like that are, especially because like if Dan and I are talking about trying to work on stuff and it's like, well, sometimes things are just cost prohibitive. It'd be really easy, like, oh yeah, we're gonna have this 3D board and we're gonna have miniatures and double layer player boards and excuse me, but and it's like, well, sure, it's great to offer all of that, but to actually come up with that where you could produce something and keep the cost down and have still a really great looking game. So it just
well, and a lot of it too is all volume based, and so and so it's really hard being an indie developer launching a game because there's these expectations of the Simons and the like these people who are launching these games that they already have 20 to 40,000 units scheduled, right? And so they're dealing with like production level discounts really on like what they can produce. And so there's these expectations like there better be this or that in there, and it's a lot harder when you're like my volume's fractions of that, right? Until I can get things lined up with distributors or publishers or whatever retailers, I don't have the the ability to have those types of volumes. And so it's also like skirting playing that game where like I can't commit to too much because I don't know if I can produce that, right? And still come out on the back end.
Because you can, I don't think people understand is you can have a successful Kickstarter, right? You're like at 151,000, right? Out of a 20,000 $130,000 starting.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like, that doesn't mean now you are making $130,000 off of this game.
Right?
This is,
Can I borrow some money?
but I don't think that always translates to people.
People don't realize that.
like actually
There's other costs, especially with stretch goals and stuff.
Right. And most of the time you are like, well, I'm breaking even, hopefully breaking even after shipping. And then maybe have a little bit of money to invest in like another game if I want to try to develop.
expansion or the next Kickstarter. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Exactly.
Right. And especially for you guys, right? Like Simon and Queen Games use Kickstarter as a pre-order service.
Yeah.
And which I poo-poo because it's like
they don't need it.
They could put out their own games and have no problem and sell the same amount of units, where I prefer, like
Yeah.
I mean, now don't get me wrong. I've got Ankh coming anytime now. I do like Simon games, but at the same time, it's a lot more interesting to me when you've got people that are coming out with like new stuff or even smaller companies. It doesn't have to just be like a one-man thing, but even like it's just smaller companies trying to.
You just feel like they're clogging up. Kickstarter.
Yeah,
soaking up all the funding. Yeah.
Now, did you when you were looking at like bringing your game to crowdfunding? Did you look at GameFound or any of the other ones, or was like, I don't know how that process works either. I'm just asking questions.
Yeah. With GameFound's not fully open yet for just everybody, right? So they've just been taking very, very specific clients.
Sure. Yeah, they're pretty new.
They're definitely working to that point where they'll be able to offer it, but that wasn't.
So not even an option. Sure.
Really.
Okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't really an option, especially when I was setting up the page, because my Kickstarter page, preview page, had been up for about a year and almost a year and a half before launching.
Wow.
And so, and I wanted to have that ready so I could be sending people there so they can click the little follow button, and so there was always a place for people to go.
Sure.
And so, and even a year ago, we didn't even know it was going to be a platform,
Right.
that,
Sure.
Yeah.
where you could launch on, right? That was just still a pledge manager back when I was setting that.
Right.
And so it wasn't really an option. And then really, Indiegogo doesn't have the same board game community.
I don't
behind
even
it.
look at Indiegogo to be completely honest.
Yeah, nobody. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like Kickstarter's where the community is. So it makes the most sense to use that, go there.
No, I didn't know a GameFound wasn't completely open yet. So that answers that question.
Yeah.
I won't ask that question to other small designers.
Every time.
Every time I'm going to ask, why didn't you go to GameFound?
So Brandt said.
Well, and then now you're gonna get like messages from GameFound. They're like, "Yes, we are. Yes, we are."
I would be happy if they wanted to talk to us.
Yeah, they reached out.
I don't care if it's in all caps.
Yeah, that counts.
They're probably
That
just
counts.
a boomer.
That totally counts.
Yeah.
So what is the end date on your Kickstarter for anyone listening?
Yep, August 11th, which is a Wednesday. So 10 more days. Like
10
you said,
more
10
days.
10 more days.
As of filming. So awesome.
Yeah, so like 7 more days.
Yeah, so a week by the
What's-
time this comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But like we talked before, I'll have a late pledge option that'll put up on the page, so we'll be able to still have people come in, because I know that there'll be people discovering the game. And that's like I said at the very beginning, that discovery has always been the biggest problem with with this project, is just like getting people aware of it. Because usually when people are aware of it, especially when they see one of the, some of the video stuff, they really quickly realize like, oh, this is something I should pay attention to. So really, it's just exposure. It's just more people.
Absolutely. Well, the good thing for you, right? Because I've seen a lot of, and I backed a lot of small Kickstarters that is so close to funding, and then it's that last 48 hours where they get the big surge, right? Everybody waits to the last minute. I have definitely been guilty of like, I'll put a little heart on this now, and I'll wait until I get reminded. And it's like, oh yeah, I do want to back that. So since you are already so funded, at least you can kind of relax, eyeball your stretch goals, and kind of, get that, just manage that whole process and not be freaking out about like,
come on.
Yeah. So that last 48, it'll be interesting to see what kind of bump you get, now, especially because the other thing is
Safe.
if you're already, it was what Dan would call safe, right? You're already a completely and well-funded like campaign, because that also is another thing where people are like, well, I'm not even going to bother because it's not funded. And it's like, well,
that's how it works. You
that's how it
gotta
works.
back it to get it funded.
You dummy. You're not out of the money if it doesn't fund.
Yeah, I think some people just don't realize that yet still.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. You see the GoFundMe stuff and the money's gone.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah,
Kickstarter,
people
they
love
wait.
backing a winner though, right? Like you feel good when you're like, oh yeah, you get behind people who are winning, right? And so sometimes there's that feeling of like, oh, they're not doing well, I just won't support them. and it's just a
I
natural
am a
thing.
Chicago.
Weird
I'm a
sentence.
Chicago sports fan, so like Cubs and Bears. I'm always backing underdogs and lovable losers. So I get it. You know, I'm on the
my
other
losers
side.
aren't even lovable. No one likes the Dolphins.
You're a Dolphins fan. Yeah. You don't win either.
I know.
But right on. Well, Dan, you got any other questions?
Well, just because people will care, I know they'll check out the Kickstarter anyway. Link in the description. But go ahead and say the price, right? The people are gonna, because we said
Yep.
the date, so we just need the price now, and I think that's it.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, so there's 2 editions available. There's a standard edition, and then there's a collector's edition. Standard edition is at a $50 price point, and then the standard edition takes that. Sorry, the collector's edition takes that a standard edition. It adds a lot of UV type of things to make the whole game a lot fancier and prettier, and then converts a lot of the sacred sites and the standees to wood. And it also comes with an additional set of tiles. There's been all these little reveals that I've been doing throughout the campaign that just for fun, really. It's just because I like fun things. But all of the tiles have unique artwork. This is what was just revealed on Friday. All the tiles have unique artwork, and they come together as a giant landscape. It's like a giant jigsaw puzzle.
So
and so
impressed.
the collector's edition comes with even more, so that puzzle's even bigger. Anyway, little fun things like that. There's little Easter eggs and little things that are all throughout the game.
Nice.
Just make it fun. Anyway, collector's edition, $75 price point. Oh my goodness! You asked me a question and I didn't.
It's all good.
I made it there.
No. But that gave me time because I was like, I wonder how many people back, because Bob and I like fancy versions of games.
Yep.
Now,
Talk about fancy versions.
if
of
there's
games.
not like a fancy version, it doesn't mean, oh, I don't want it. But
Right.
if there's a deluxe,
If there's an option,
we usually go for the
fancier bits.
fancier bits, right? So, and clearly, like just looking at the Kickstarter,
The number-
everybody seems to want the fancy collector's edition, which really is not that much
More.
I mean, it's $25 more. That's not bad for a deluxe collector's edition of a game.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, especially again a game that has these mechanics that we know and love, right? I know that it seems to be something you're grasping onto a lot because a lot of the quotes from people like Rado and stuff are all about this, but it really does take a bunch of mechanics we've seen before and just mixes them together in a way that I've never seen. The way that all the mechanics, the tile movement, the worker placement, the action selection, the way all of it comes together, I have never seen these mechanics work this way. Yeah, we can say like, oh, well, the worker placement has that little bit like Scythe where you can't take the action your guy's on, obviously. Yeah, sure, whatever. I mean, Villainous does that too, right? But the way it works together here, I've just never seen, and I love it. If it hasn't come off yet, I'm a fan.
So Dan wants to know, if he backs at the $750 level, will you be his friend?
Right.
That's what he really
well,
wants.
doesn't it say like he'll fly me out to him or something? Doesn't it say?
But no, this is awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time and coming to talk to us about this
Absolutely.
project because we are board game omnivores. We love, between us, we play all kinds of games, like, across the spectrum. And it's always awesome to see something that does new things and also incorporates mechanics that I already really like anyways. And it's kind of awesome also that Concordia is one of your favorite games because I could see some of that. But we have good taste. And Bob, you just got to play it because you will love it too. I know you will.
No, it's true. Concordia was kind of my standard. It was like, if I've got to be able to have a game that's this tight.
Yeah.
If I can't make it this tight,
Right.
then it's not going to work for me.
Right.
So.
But yeah, for us, it's always exciting to get to talk to other gamers, right? Other people who are passionate about the hobby, and so
Thanks
you.
for letting me come on.
Yeah, and I know it was kind of short notice, so I'm really glad we got to throw it together and make it happen. I know Dan was really excited.
I don't
know if you know Dan likes this game.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm really good at hiding my emotion. That's my poker face. Yeah. So
Don't ever make that face.
Yeah, please don't.
Or we'll have to switch to straight podcast. We won't even be able to have
straight
a video
audio.
version.
Thank you, Brandt, so much for coming on and taking. We're going to do our best to spread the word of Oros to more people. Obviously, we're a small channel, but we will do our best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spread the wisdom.
Because I'm upset that I saw it so late. I don't want other people to miss it.
No,
Right.
Right.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, You know, we do what we can,
Awesome.
right?
Yep.
You're gonna see that board game rundown bump of 4 more backers.
Right now, as I back it.
5 more backers.
Woo! Got the one. We just need 3 more. No, it's great. No, it's great. It's good to meet all of you, and yeah, thanks for letting me come on because honestly it means a lot. So
Well, obviously, as stuff gets further down the road, like when the late pledge opens up and everything and stuff like that, anything you want to, if you want to come back on and. We could just talk about other board games you like, and you know, say, hey, we're here to talk about the
Talk
late
Concordia
pledge,
strategy.
but then we're gonna also talk Concordia strategy.
Yeah.
And why?
Awesome.
Because I need tips.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to teach him how to play,
You better learn better.
I'm gonna have to up my game.
That's right.
yeah.
beat
I
the
actually
newbies.
played. So I was at a convention just the last 2 days,
Oh, nice.
and I actually got to play Kalis for the first time. I see it
I've
right
never
behind
played Kalis. Wait,
Okay.
that's the one you hate.
I hate Kalis.
It's right behind it. Although that's the old version. I played the new
Yeah,
version.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
I don't know
it's.
the difference, but
I was going to ask, do you know what the difference is?
I actually also played the new one, so I don't know the difference, but I didn't like it. But whatever. I'm not here
Dan
to
doesn't like good
I'm
games.
not
He
here to
doesn't.
hate on Kalis. Let's go back to Concordia.
You haven't played that either.
Yeah, Rebirth.
I've been avoiding that this whole time. You've been talking to Bob.
Yeah, well, you know, you don't like good games, so that's why I was talking
Let's talk about
that.
Tapestry. That's a great
That
game.
Tapestry good. But yeah,
Anyways.
Brandt, thank you so much, man.
bet,
So
you bet.
we will be pestering you to come on later. And,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah,
talk
anytime,
about
reach
more
out.
stuff. So we appreciate it,
Thank you.
and yeah, thanks for being on.
Cool.
Sorry. That was pretty cool though.
What?
I just
What happened?
were you
Where-
guys? I was just thinking about my new best friend.
Oh. Did that cost you any money
What?
for your new best friend to be your new best friend?
No. I
I thought it
yeah.
might cost you like $750. I don't know. I don't know why that number
Stuck
popped
with
into my
you.
head.
Yeah.
But I feel like that number would be the number.
I'd be your friend for $750.
I thought Brandt and I had a real connection there.
And there it went. Gone. So, guys, thank you for bearing with us and all of our shenanigans. Please check out our friends at the Miniatures Rundown,
Yeah.
right? You got CJ and Jeff over there checking out the weird minis and painting stuff and doing all the things that we are not capable of doing.
Yeah.
And then they also CJ does a really good job of breaking down like the new Warhammer stuff. So if you're interested in any of that,
Yeah.
I would check that out. I would even just reach out to him because he's going to be able to give you a ton of tips. Super knowledgeable.
Yep.
Jeff, whatever.
Not so much.
He's going to paint. You
Yeah.
know, he'll do that.
Don't paint like this, Jeff. that's a bad idea.
That's a bad way to paint.
Miniatures painting.
But also, please check out our friends at the Board Game Mechanics.
Yeah.
They love Dan over there.
Yeah,
man.
they're pretty
They
okay
do a
over
weekly podcast. Jason does a ton of reviews on his YouTube channel. There's also Katie's Not So Boring Unboxing.
I mean, yeah, go check them out. I starred in their last podcast.
basically.
Yeah, it was
Basically.
pretty cool.
Yeah, believe it or not, we have all actually played games together with them, and it went very well. Nobody was hurt.
Mostly, yeah. The
Nobody
games that I didn't like, you know, the experience sucked.
Well,
But-
yeah, every game sucks.
A couple of games I
according to you.
won. Those games were pretty cool.
But yeah, thank you for watching. As always, I've been Tim.
I've been Bob.
I was Dan.
We'll see you next time, I guess.
Thanks for checking out the Board Game Rundown. If you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share our videos on social media and spread the word. We publish new content weekly, including reviews, unboxing, and Let's Plays. And as always, thanks for watching.